we're good. It is 5:31. I will call the November business meeting of the Port Edwards School District to order. Roll call, please.
Kathy McGrath.
Here.
John Dobbin.
Here.
Crystal Severs.
Here.
Carrie Hildebrand, I am here. Leo Thomascar.
I'm here. Consider approval of the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Report from student representatives.
Welcome, girls. Thank you for coming tonight.
Hi, I'm Kaylin and I'm a freshman.
I'm Ella and I'm also a freshman.
So, our fall sports seasons have come to an end, but don't you worry. Winter sports have hit the ground already running. Our middle school and high school boys and our high school girls basketball teams have started up these past few weeks. The middle school boys have had a few games in already, while the high school boys and girls' first games won't take place until the beginning of December. Lastly, our wrestling team, through a co-op with Nagusa High School, started its season this past Monday as well. A lot is going on, so come on out and support our athletes.
On November 4th, Miss Bruner and the Ecology Club hosted the annual holiday meal. The Ecology Club put together a great meal for the high school students, board members, and community members. This was a great chance to socialize, and it was an opportunity that many other schools don't get.
Student Council hosts 2 blood drives each year, one in the fall and one in the spring. The fall blood drive was Wednesday, November 5th. We had a good turnout for our community, students, and even our staff. The past 3 drives have had a lower turnout than usual, but unfortunately, this is being seen in a lot of local school drives. On a positive note, we have had 6 first-time donors, which is from last spring, and hopefully with birthdays and more people turning 16 in the next few months, we will meet our goal of 25 donors for the spring blood drive scheduled for mid-February.
2 weeks ago, the HOSA program celebrated National HOSA Week by having dress-up days to recognize the healthcare workers in the world. The dress-up days were Monday, Mental Health Monday, Tuesday, Trauma Tuesday, Wednesday, Athletic Trainer, Thursday, Healthcare Hero, and Friday, Career Day. It was fun to see many middle and high school students participating and showing their support for the healthcare community.
John Edwards High School Drama has been working hard over the past month for their annual play. With 10 cast members and 5 crew members, this year they performed The Boarding House in the Dorothy Alexander Auditorium on Friday, November 14th at 7:30 p.m. and Saturday, November 15th at 3 p.m. They did an amazing job and it was very fun to watch.
Thank you for listening. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to stay.
Basketball.
Any port in the storm, right? Okay,
Well done, girls.
Good job,
Well
girls.
done.
thanks very much. I'm not exactly sure what I would do if one
Stays.
month, one of the
Somebody
kids
stay?
would actually stay. I mean, like, really? This is great. All right, all board members are in attendance, and our next board meeting in December is
10th?
the 10th?
10th, yes.
December 10th. At 5:30 unless there is a need for an executive session.
Yes.
Administrative reports, elementary principal, Mr. Mina.
Good evening, everyone. Several things happening here. It's been a while since we've had a board meeting. So several things to update you about. The Port Edwards School District and the elementary in particular, we're working closely with the local police department and the county police department to enhance school safety. We did a elementary school safety training. It was led by police on Monday, November 3rd, and training is planned for the middle and high school in the near future. County Deputy Andrew Merkis and Officer Josiah Mertz from the village were here on November 3rd. We had, I think, almost our entire elementary staff here. We talked about the latest tactics and tips in school safety. The philosophy now is run, hide, fight. It's no longer the ALICE training. ALICE is a more complex, complicated school safety training. It's simply run, hide, fight. We talked about best evacuation routes out of the building. what to do if intruders would be in certain parts of the building, reunification sites, etc. So again, more safety training is planned for the middle and high school. And next year we plan on doing some reunification training at both the ELC and also Christian Life Fellowship Church, which would be a district-wide reunification site. So we are planning on doing those activities. On our October 30th in-service day, elementary teachers had grade level meetings with our CISA professional, Amanda Semrad. She is assisting us with the English and Language Arts pilot. They also met at grade level with a representative from the Savas Textbook Company to discuss how our pilot of the MyView program is moving along and progressing. Following our meetings and a lot of conversation and a faculty vote, we decided to extend the textbook pilot through the end of February. At the end of February, we will decide if we want to continue to pilot for the remainder of the year or do a full purchase of the program at that time. So I think our teachers feel much more comfortable. We had our first meeting on July 30th this summer. It was brand new. They didn't know anything about the program. They were just learning it that day. In September, it was still a lot of unanswered questions about the program. In early October, when we met 3 weeks later, much higher comfort level. And on October 30th, we are feeling pretty comfortable, pretty confident about the program. So things are looking good for this program for us.
Was that K6, K?
K5.
K5. okay.
K5. So, yeah, in 5th grade at the other building. Yes. Parent-teacher conferences were held here in the elementary on November 12th. We had scheduled 187 conferences. We had attendance by 167 parents for an 89% attendance rate. So 167 out of 187 attended, which was very good. Earlier this fall, Mrs. Lazitza, and I have to get used to saying this, Mrs. Ayers, formerly Ms. Moore. So Mrs. Lazitza and Mrs. Ayers, they led the best screener for all of our students at the elementary, the middle, and the high school. The best screener, as you may remember, Jen did a presentation about a year ago about the best screener. It identifies areas of emotional wellness and areas of emotional wellness concern. They shared that data and that information with Mr. Steltenpole and I yesterday, and they are going to use that information to create behavioral support plans for students who are in need of emotional support. So they are using that best data. On to our PTO. The Port Edwards People Organization has had a busy fall. On Thursday night, November 6th, they hosted their second annual community bingo night here in the gym. Our Village Lions Club led several games of bingo between 6 and 8 o'clock, and people sold snacks and refreshments. Approximately $700 was raised from snacks and from selling the bingo cards, and that was 100% of the money that was raised by the Lions from bingo was donated back to people. So it was a fun community night. We get people in the building for that bingo that may be the only time all year they come into the school. So it's great to see them, great to talk with them and update them about what's happening here at school. Another great community event that we did on Friday, November 14th, we held the 3rd annual Donuts with Grown-Ups. That was from 6:45 until 7:30. We had approximately, I would say about 160 to 170 children. I had that on another memo. I don't have it written down here. I think it was about 160 or 170 children, parents, and grandparents. They attended that day, and it was just a nice way to start our Friday.
It's a lot of donuts.
It was a lot of donuts, absolutely. Excuse me. And finally, I want to talk about our building-wide character trait for November. That is gratitude. Very timely for the Thanksgiving holiday. We talk about gratitude each day during our morning announcements, and gratitude will be the focus of our Blackhawk Families program tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Pina?
I got a lot of feedback on the bingo, actually. People asked if they could do that more than once a year. They love the bingo.
I heard the same thing last year.
Popular.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun.
Very popular, yeah.
Thank you, Crystal. I'll bring that up. There's a people meeting after this, so I'll bring that up.
It's a great way, like you said, Jim, to get people that normally wouldn't come in here to come in. So,
People that don't have children,
right,
they come in and see staff, they see the building.
Yep.
It is.
Any way you can get the public into your public schools, it's never a bad thing. Middle school, high school principal report, Mr. Stone.
Good evening. We're just busy. We're ending try one, and at the middle high school, that's a lot coming with our grades. I wanted to report, DNF list. We're down to 6 and 8 kids, 6 kids in our high school, 8 kids in our middle school on the DNF list. Kind of really wanted to get it under double digits. Years past, it was anywhere from 10 to 20. So we're really hammering on some of those things. Our HOSA club that Mrs. Peters is running is currently running a big buddy type program up in her science lab. And any 5, 6, 7, or 8 kids that are struggling with homework or catching up, they make themselves available. During Blackhawk, they go up and they help them answer any questions and go with that. And these high school kids are giving up their own Blackhawk time and their homework time. And these kids are our leaders. They're our athletes. And they're kids that are taking tough classes at our high school level, but they're finding other times to do that homework so they can help our kids. And I think that's been a big thing to help our DNF list at our middle school level. So as you guys know, we're wrapping up fall sports, jumping into the spring sports. Our representatives talked about that. Our high school, again, not talk about our middle school, but our high school. Those 2 girls are our freshmen in our freshman class. We have outstanding, strong kids in our high school right now. I brag a lot. I bragged to her the other day. We have not had one discipline issue in our high school. I have not seen a high school kid in the office for discipline all school year. Much as a lot of our kids are strong leaders and they're just doing what they're supposed to be doing. So be very proud of them, and I'm very proud of those 2 ladies coming in as freshmen, and they spoke well of themselves. So a couple things that we have coming up. We have our choir concert. Miss P's choir concert was originally scheduled on November 23rd, Sunday at 2 o'clock. We talked about this. We all sit down and decide, usually in the spring of last year, we all sat down and talked about how we can get the Dorothy Alexander Auditorium able to be used by everybody and still have it open for gym and things like that. Miss P brought up the fact that she thinks a lot of times the grandmas and grandpas don't like to drive and attend a 6:30 in the evening choir or band concert. So what she wanted to try this year was a 2 o'clock Sunday concert. Mr. Bean and I spoke about it. We decided to give it a shot. And then we decided that it was on a Wisconsin holiday. Opening of
Blaze
rifle
orange.
season.
I heard feedback on that.
Yes. Well, part of schools and what I love about Port Edwards is we use common sense, right? We had families call, say, you know what, we don't get out of the woods till 4 and we travel. So Miss P and I got together, we talked, and we decided to host it. We're gonna be hosting it November 24th, that next day at 6:30 that night. All the kids that said they couldn't make it on Sunday are able to come, and that's what we want is a showing of a full choir. So common sense prevailed there, so any feedback that you got from them, you can.
and you'll have a bus going to pick up all the grandmas and grandpas that don't want to drive.
It is late, and so everything you do, you try for a reason.
Yeah.
We're gonna try a Sunday this spring at their next concert.
Yeah.
However, it's right around where Mother's Day is, so we'll be better, and being a hunter myself, I kinda told Miss P, who's not from Wisconsin, who's not a deer hunter, I said, this is me, I should have known.
It's kind of a sacred time.
It is, and we want our kids out hunting and doing those things out there too, so that's a good thing. So choir concert change. We are really looking forward to our high school band going to Hawaii, December 4th through the 10th. We developed, Miss Anderson and I developed a code of conduct for chaperones and also students that they'll be required to sign. And I'm not worried about discipline over there, but they are a long way away if something happens. So we do have policies in place if something happens while they're in Hawaii. But what a neat thing that they're doing. So it's gonna be a great experience for our kids.
How many from Lincoln? So with Port and Lincoln, how many kids are going?
I don't know on the Lincoln side, but I
Okay.
believe we have 17.
Okay.
kids going. And yeah, there was a lot of people asking to be chaperones.
Yes.
Okay.
I wasn't one of them. We have our senior breakfast that our middle school student council puts on. Last year, by default, I was kind of in charge of that. Kira Lepek, our middle school science social studies teacher, she stepped up, took it and ran with it. They've done amazing things already, things that I just didn't have time to do last year. They will be hosting that on December, I believe it's Friday, December 13th.
12th.
12th, okay, so Friday, December 12th, all of you guys will get an invite to come and our band and.
We've already
choir-
gotten them.
You did,
Oh, great.
okay.
When should I?
Excellent.
Wait, okay.
Yeah, so she's on her game with that too, and that's such a neat thing. Last year I invited my parents to come and they came and they just said, this is just an amazing place, like they walked out of there just in awe. So pretty cool thing, but that will be happening in December. Rogers Cinema, the day before Christmas break, we take our 512 to Rogers Cinema. They open up the doors, they charge our students $8 and they get a movie, popcorn and pop. So we will be going there on just the afternoon of December 23rd for our 512 kids and offering, I think we have 5 movie choices to choose, but we'll be doing that again this year. The one thing I did want to focus on as far as is our academic and our curriculum. You know, there's discussions on what we do on our professional development days. The elementary's been hard into the MyView and the ELA portions. At the middle school and high school, what we chose to do, I was approached by a group of ladies who said, you know we have the support cart coming around, and you guys come around a couple times a year, and that started last spring, but they said, you know, the elementary school has people, we wanna start something at the middle school and high school to keep morale going, to tell teachers and staff members how much we appreciate them here. Some amazing ladies. So we've been in the planning on that, and they call themselves the PSSS, the Parents Supporting School Staff. And these ladies have come in the last 3 Fridays. This last week on Friday morning, they brought in enough blueberry muffins for our entire staff that were cooked 2 hours prior. They put up posters all over our teachers' lounge. They have surveys. This one right now is what are some things that you cannot live without on your Thanksgiving table. And staff are making notes on it and stuff, and it's just a way to bring staff together. With our professional development on October 30th, I was really looking for a way to tie what they do into a book that I read that was game changing, and the book is called What Great Teachers Do Differently. It's by Todd Whitaker, and there are a list of 20 things in the book that all good teachers do in their classrooms and why they're successful. I'm not an avid reader. That book, I told my staff, we're not sitting around doing a book study just to check a box. I wouldn't have you read this book unless I thought it was meaningful. So for November, I assigned 3 chapters for them to read that they went and read that afternoon in their classrooms. And the first 3 chapters focus on relationships. And how I tied that into it is the support school staff, that group that I was just speaking about. At the beginning of every month, they send in a baggie with 4 gift cards and 4 thank you, I saw what you did cards. And it started with me, and this month's theme is relationships. And there's a lot of choices. I chose one staff member who really is working well with kids and building strong relationships. Wrote her a really nice note on there about what I saw, handed her the bag. She got to choose the gift card that she wanted. And then the next week, it's her job to find another staff member, and they get to do the same. And we're calling it our gift card chain. And every month we're gonna do this. Staff loved it, and tying it in with that book that we're reading, and it just goes good together with that. So as far as professional development, you know, being in the classroom for a lot of years, I always said if I was in an administrative role, I was not going to make my staff sit through things that aren't meaningful. And
Good for you.
anybody that's taught, we all know that sometimes that happens, right? So this has been extremely meaningful. We tied it into our middle school and high school informal evaluations. So what Jim and I talked about it and kind of developed, as we go into a classroom, it's box checks of things from that book that our staff are reading. And it's instant feedback on what you saw in that classroom. So a good way to tie all three of those things in.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Title is 20 Things Great Teachers Do.
What great teachers do differently.
What great, yeah,
And it, you know, like the first 3 chapters just talks about relationships and how and we all know this in education and how important it is for that.
I have a copy if you'd like to borrow it, Leo,
Okay.
in my office.
and I saw a notation in one of your memos, there's gonna be a dress rehearsal, dry run of the band program for Hawaii on December 2nd?
Oh,
Somewhere?
a concert with Lincoln?
Or is that,
There is.
did I miss,
That's the
did I
dates.
miss?
I don't know what the date is, but they are doing.
They're doing a
they are.
concert with Lincoln.
That'll be at
Because they-
Lincoln?
Yeah,
That I'm unsure of. I
Yeah.
have not
I'm
heard about
guessing
that.
so.
I would have to go back and look.
They're going,
Okay.
the students are going there for practices right
Okay.
now, so I would assume that the concert,
And
yeah.
will that
Less to go
performance
there.
be open to the
Yeah,
public?
probably more room or
We'll,
whatever.
if it is, we'll contact you guys, we'll
Okay.
put it on social
Right.
media.
We'll send an email, we can send an email to the board too.
But Emily's been taking those kids up to Lincoln High School to practice.
Good.
I think they've
With
gone
Lincoln.
twice now and they have 2 more times where they're going up to practice with both bands.
I would hope that either Ms. Anderson or Mr. Hintz or Mr. Miller has cued them to something besides just the music.
Oh,
It took me until I was in my middle 60s to get to Pearl Harbor. And if you've never been there, makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. So,
I saw the agenda when she proposed it to us, and there's definitely historical and cultural aspects of the trip. There are. Yeah.
it'll be, it's one of those places that everybody's heard of. Oh, yeah, that happened there. But there's way more to it than that. I hope that somebody's doing some backstory for these kids. Or not, if nothing else, giving them something to read on the plane. So, anyway,
What's the DNF list? I guess I'm not familiar with that.
So once a week, we, Ms. Beaver in our guidance sends out staff a DNF list of kids. And it lists kids that are struggling, that have DNFs, and then the staff take a look at that and just, you know, they really work hard on how to focus on getting those kids up to C's or higher.
Once a week, you said?
Yeah, every Friday she
That's
sends it out.
awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I've noticed that, Shane, that the number of students on there has decreased significantly in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I used to print it out and it was 3-4 pages at each
It
level.
was,
Oh my
And,
gosh.
and we're down to 1 page and I'm like, this can't be right, like,
not even a full page.
and it is right.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's tremendous.
kids are doing a great job.
Thank you. Back to Mr. Bina for District Administrator report.
Sure. Thank you very much, Shane. There are outstanding things happening at our high school, outstanding things. And we thank you for that. Thank you for your leadership, absolutely. A few things I want to touch on that are happening here in the district. Our student reps tonight, they talked about the Ecology Club's annual fall harvest meal. I want to publicly say thank you to Mrs. Bruner. Jeannie Bruner, this is a passion of hers. She works tirelessly at this. She is a mentor, she's a teacher, she's a role model to, I think it's mostly young ladies that are in her ecology club, and they prepare the food, they serve the food. It's just an incredible experience. So thank you, Mrs. Bruner. She leads this, and it's such an awesome tradition and another thing that we can do because we're in a nice small school, and we definitely want to keep that going. So there are donations. It would not have happened without donations. I know a couple off the top of my head, and forgive me, I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but Steve Burno donated, I think he donated all the potatoes for the meal. Our Lions Club donated, we paid for the rest of the food, or the majority of the rest of the food. So the Village Lions Club did that as well. We had some school board members there. We had 8 Lions Club members in attendance, so it was a tremendous event. Shane discussed our concerts at the middle and high school. The elementary holiday concert will be on Monday, December 1st. that first day we get back after Thanksgiving break. It's at 6 o'clock in the Dorothy Alexander. December 1st at 6 o'clock. Thanksgiving break, if we've all looked ahead to our calendars, for students, it's Wednesday through Friday, the 26th through the 28th. Our teaching staff are scheduled on the 27th, but that is a work day from home if they choose. That's a
26th, I bet you mean.
yes, yeah, Wednesday the 26th. Sorry.
You aren't gonna make them work Thanksgiving Day.
No, Wednesday the 26th. That is
I was
a
gonna say.
record-keeping day. Yep, that was an error, yeah. The 26th is record-keeping day, and they can have a work-from-home option as long as they have their grades completed by 3:30. We continue to do that each record-keeping day. It's a nice work-from-home option. Our staff really appreciates it. Excuse me. I'd like to touch on the Wisconsin DPI report cards. On November 11th, DPI released our annual state report cards for school districts and individual public schools around the state. Each school is rated on a 100-point scale. Port Edward School District has 4 report cards. Of course, we have an elementary, we have a middle, we have a high, and then we have a district-wide report card. Very happy to present to our board that each of those 4 scores improved last year between 23-24 to 24-25. The elementary improved its score by 8.4 points. It's up to 67.5. That's in the meets expectations. Our middle school improved their score by 2.2 points. They're up to 74.6. This exceeds expectations. Our high school improved their score by 7.6 points to 69.1. This falls in the meets expectations range. And as a district, we improved our score by 5.6 points to overall 70.2. This falls in the meets expectation range as well. So congratulations to our teaching staff and our students. All 4 report cards improved. They did an outstanding job. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Beaman? Thank you. Our guest tonight is Kathy Stebbins-Hintz, our curriculum director. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me come in and talk to you tonight. I really appreciate it. I just want to preface my comments with saying I've been with the district now working on curriculum for 2 years, and then the 2 months or 3 months we've been in school this year. And it's been such a great experience. You have an incredible district here. Working with Jim, working with Shane and Lisa and Jody, just what great colleagues to work with, and how supportive they've been, and your teaching staff and your entire staff has just been, it's just a wonderful place to be. I've been in the business for now 40 years, so I can tell you I've seen a lot of things, and you do a great job leading your district, so thank you for that. But on to curriculum, which is a very near and dear topic to my heart. And the 2 years and a couple months I've been here, it's pretty amazing what your staff has done to build a curriculum for the district and build a process. So I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about that. I'm going to review a few of the things that the teachers came and talked to you about I believe it was last April they came. So I'm going to review that if that's okay, and then talk a little bit about the great things that have happened just since last April. So Jim has very graciously agreed to yep, just go ahead.
Okay.
So the first slide has a lot on it, but the reason it does is because whenever I do a presentation on curriculum, and I do a lot of them, I always start with, why do we need a curriculum? I mean, teachers want to teach. They want to be in classrooms. They don't want to be messing around writing curriculum. That doesn't always make them happy. For some people that are nerdy about curriculum like I am, it makes me happy, but it doesn't always make all the teachers happy, right? But so I have my kind of standard 2 slides that I always show that have 7 reasons why we need a curriculum. Well, I would have shown you that tonight, except that your teachers, after the 2 years and a couple months of work we've done, have come up with this statement saying why you need a written curriculum in Port Edwards, and why it's important to instruction and helping create the best learners and students that you can have. And they wrote this, and this is now the first piece or first part of the curriculum development document that you saw last year. This is also on your website now. So why don't you take a minute and read that, just to remind you of why we're doing this curriculum work. I'm not going to read it to you, but just take a minute and look at that. This came from their hearts, and this is what they believe. And I think it really sums up why we need a written curriculum. Then I have one more slide that they didn't write about why we need a curriculum, and that's it's also the law. So, you know, what can I say, CYA? It's important that we do that as, you know, your district administrator, Jim. I mean, we need to have it. And I think in the past, a lot of districts attempt to do this, but what happens is everybody gets into it, writes a curriculum, and then it sits on a shelf, and 15 years later, you're looking and nobody knows where the curriculum was, and yeah, it's gone, and it doesn't really matter. So we've not only developed a curriculum here, we've developed a process. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Leo?
No, I'm just.
Been there, done that?
Over and over and over and over. It was the most deathly part of in-service that we ever did, because we knew after spending half a day slogging through us, it was going in the ring binder, it was going on the shelf in the office. And unless somebody was captured by Martians or run over by a bus, and a new person came in and didn't need any, and didn't know what was going on, nobody, not the board, not the administrators, not the teachers, are ever gonna look at it. This is a whole different animal.
I really hope so, and I believe it is, and I hope what I show you tonight underscores that.
I like the real world part of
Yes.
that.
Yes.
In there
yes,
because-
Yes,
This is what we're preparing our kids for.
That's
Is the
what it's
real
all about,
world.
right? That's what it's all about.
Yes, absolutely.
That's why we exist as public educators.
Right.
So,
contrary to what appears to be a popular practice at the moment, in the real world, most people are accountable. And you might as well start explaining to kids that when they're in a class and there are expectations of what they are to learn and how they are to behave and what society and employers and the community and their families will expect of them as soon-to-be adults, the sooner they get that message, the better.
And it starts in 4-year-old kindergarten.
That's right.
it absolutely starts in 4-year-old kindergarten. Probably it starts before that, but yes, but that's
Right.
where we can really
Right.
wrap our arms around it and get moving with it.
Just, I want to add one quick story if I may. During our last in-service, our curriculum departments, they met in different classrooms around the high school. And it truly, what I saw when I met with each of those departments, it was contrary to what you said, Leo. I can remember writing curriculum 20, 25, almost 30 years ago. And yes, that was the process. This process is almost the opposite. Some of those meetings were honestly almost like booster club meetings. Like there was genuine excitement from some of them about writing health curriculum, ELA curriculum, because they were owning it and it was something they were going to use. So it was really cool to see. It's a great process.
Imagine actually going from the idea phase to the design phase to the production phase to the customer phase. If you were in an industry, you're manufacturing whiz widgets, and you didn't do that, you wouldn't sell anything. That at least, or if you did, it wouldn't prove to be a product that would sustain in the market.
Correct.
We're selling knowledge, we're selling life skills, we're selling behavioral skills, we're selling the ability of young people to survive in a world that's changing so fast that they can't keep up, let alone the old people. So, yeah,
It's critical.
that's, yeah.
That's a really interesting comparison. I like that. You know,
I mean-
that's how it's the same way that industry works, right? It is.
People
Yeah.
want to run schools as businesses, but you can't. Because we're not manufacturing TVs or blue jeans.
Right.
And we don't get to pick our raw material, and we don't get to pick the resources we have, and we can't send the raw material back if it comes other than
Not
we
how we
ordered.
want it, right?
And, you know, you've all heard the stories. So comparing industry and commerce to public education is kind of it's a different animal, but the same
Process.
process applies.
It really does. I never really had actually thought of it that way, so that was really like an aha for me. So, thank you. So, where have we been? And this is kind of what you heard from the teachers last year, but I'm just gonna go over it again real quickly if I can. And brag a little bit about what we accomplished in 23-24. And what we did is we established the Curriculum Leadership Committee. Those are the folks you met in April, and they have been the folks that have led this whole process. We've worked together to make it happen. And what we're doing by doing that is developing teacher leaders. You know, teachers are leaders in their classroom, but they're not always leaders out in the school in that way, especially instructionally. And we're developing instructional leaders who can focus on content areas that Jim and Shane and Jody and Lisa, they don't have time to do that because they have other jobs that they have to do. So now Tammy Griffith can really get excited about math and lead that. You know, Danielle Peters can really get excited about science and lead that. And that's powerful, and that can just only improve the content and only improve how we teach. So we established that committee, and they explored, oh, do you mind going back, Jim? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. They explored and looked at a curriculum format. What are we going to have our curriculum look like? And they looked at all kinds of different districts and looked at what they were doing. And then they made that decision, and then we began the process of writing curriculum maps. And I'll tell you what, the teachers took that on and they did it. I think we met that first year 3 or 4 times where we got them subs and they worked on writing those initial maps. And then you can move right into the next year. In 2024-25, we completed the map writing. And I'm just going to show you, this is a packet of 4 papers. So I'm going to talk about each paper individually. So just look at the first one. This first top page is just an example of a unit from 5th grade math. So you can see what they look like. This is not the entire map, it's just 5th grade math unit 2. And now every teacher that comes in has that to look at what's being taught and what they need to do. And you can see all those components, what they need to know. That's under the concept content column, and the skill, what they need to do. So we have a map for that. And then we also, if you want to look at the next page, every department developed a scope and sequence. If you go ahead and look at that second page, this is the scope and sequence for Spanish. So we have a scope and sequence for math, science, social studies, language arts, and I can show you where you can find those in a minute. This happens to be Spanish, and I always pick this one because she color-coded it, so I think it looks the prettiest. But you can see, so for every class Rachel teaches, she lists what the kids are going to learn. And it's a 20,000-foot look. The map is very specific and very helpful to the teachers, but this scope and sequence is very helpful to you as board members and to your public. So if Mrs. Jones, who has a kid in 3rd grade and a kid in 8th grade, wants to know what's being taught on the website, they can look up the scope and sequence, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Okay. Then also in 24-25, they created the Curriculum Development Handbook, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And at the end of last year, which you didn't hear about from the folks in April, is we hired curriculum chairpersons to lead the curriculum development process for each content area. So what can we, Jim, at this point just show them online? If you click on the maps for every content and grade level, I hope it works. Okay, so this is on the staff resource side of your, this is from the Port Edwards District School website.
Our website.
And this is only available to staff. So you know how there's that side where only staff can access? So, you'll see that's what that first slide I showed you. So it starts out with that why we have a written curriculum. And then if you don't mind scrolling down. All the content areas are listed. So a teacher can go in, click on their content area and see all the maps. Now, I have to tell you, it's not done yet.
We don't have a lot of them on there yet. Tanya Beaver is helping me work on this. She's been very busy, obviously, with her new position, but we're getting it going. And Jim, if you don't mind clicking on math, we can show you a few examples anyway. And the teachers are impatient to get this going, so this is something I really need to be working on. But, so you can see the highlighted ones have the map in there. So Jim, if you want to, like, maybe say click on 6th grade. And there it is. So if a new teacher comes in, or if the 7th grade teacher wants to see what the 6th grade teacher is teaching, it's all there.
Which is very helpful when we get a new
You're a brand new
staff
teacher.
member. Here it is, this is what you're gonna be doing.
Well, they're not all online yet, that's a
But,
goal.
yeah,
But what was interesting is all the teachers know these are available now because they've all worked on them. So when our new teachers came, the first thing the mentor said is, well, Kathy, I need the maps. You know, and isn't that awesome? And so I just made folders for all the new teachers, so all the maps were in those folders, so they had them. And there it is, that's what they need to do.
It was one of the primary reasons we wanted to do this work too. It's the law, it's best practice. We wanna make sure our brand new teachers are prepared.
Mhm.
You know, we hear that every year as administrators, we hire a new teacher, we're having a conversation. Well, the most primary question they ask is, what am I teaching?
Exactly.
What am I teaching?
sure.
And instead of handing them a textbook that is a very vague answer, we can give them a very specific, articulate answer, and why they should be doing this.
Exactly, and this is all aligned to the state standards. I mean, the teachers started with the state standards, so you know that if this is what's being taught, then it's gonna help us with our state assessments, it's going to help us with all those other things that we need to do.
So
John?
I'm assuming all this is meant, as you mentioned, textbook, is in the textbooks that they use or not?
Well,
Not necessarily.
I hope so.
Okay.
And I'm gonna talk about the process in a minute, because what happens is after they write these maps in that multi-year process, then they purchase their materials.
Okay.
So that
Okay.
they're purchasing materials which support the maps they
Right.
write. So it's a great question.
Is that available to the public, like parents to know what each grade does too?
Can you go back to the slideshow and then I'll show you in a link. Thanks for asking that, Crystal, okay, so if you go to, click on the scope and sequence. Oh, sorry, Jen.
No, that's fine.
It's the second bullet, go back up to that slide 6.
Slide 6, okay,
Yeah, and then click on the second bullet there, scope and sequence.
yes.
So if you go to your district website tonight, you can see this. And there's that same introduction, and then if you scroll down, Jim, thank you. Then all the content areas are listed, and then if you click on one of those, I don't care which one you click on, then there's the scope and sequence.
Awesome.
So parents can see, again, that's that 20,000 foot view. Now, in answer to your question, Crystal, go ahead and show another one.
Yeah, there's science.
And then you saw the Spanish. And if you keep flowing through there, you're gonna be able to see what's happening at the secondary and these are works in progress too, do know that. I mean,
Yeah.
the teachers but if your question, Crystal, is can parents see the maps themselves? Yeah, here's technology education. Check it, 6, 7, and 8.
Mr. Bruno.
If you scroll down, you can see then specific courses, so what does he teach in consumer and home maintenance, if you wanna know that. So a parent can look at that, oh, if my kid wants to take electronics 1, well, what happens in electronics 1? I don't know anything about electronics, then they can look at this, although that probably doesn't help me that much, but.
Yeah, it's very specific, it's excellent.
But in answer to your question, Crystal, Jim, if you don't mind going back to slide 6, and thank you so much for helping me with this, because if I were
Absolutely.
fumbling over the computer, and go back, actually, go back to that main scope and sequence, the second bullet. And if you just scroll down a little bit, at the bottom, right above where everything's listed, it says link below is a scope and sequence of the curriculum that is taught in each content area broken down by grade level and course. Please contact your building principal for a more detailed curriculum map of a specific grade level or course. So in answer to your question, those are available by request.
Perfect.
There's a little bit of concern by, as I worked with the curriculum leadership committee, if we put all those maps out there, it could get a little bit overwhelming.
Mind-boggling.
Right.
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
much.
But that doesn't mean if a parent wants to know what's happening
Yep.
in 8th grade physical education and that scope and sequence isn't specific enough, all they have to do is call Shane. Shane can get them that map.
We want to show parents the overview, what's going to be in that class. And then, yes, if they want to know, how is Mr. Burno teaching about parallel circuits? You know, what textbook is he using or something? Then we can provide that.
Okay.
Yeah. Not a very controversial topic. I don't think anyone would ask that, but
I agree.
yeah, for example.
I've done curriculum a while and I've gotten some interesting requests, so you never know.
You never know.
So then going back to slide 6.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Jim.
Oh, sure.
I owe you for this.
Oh, no.
It is a lot easier when somebody's doing it for you.
It's fine.
So we created the curriculum development process handbook, which I know you saw, but if you look at the 3rd and 4th pieces of paper, I want to just talk to you about those for a minute, just to review that with you. In case you have questions or sometimes the first time you hear something, it's like, ah. So if you lay the 3rd and 4th pieces of paper next to each other, I think that's the most helpful. And then Jim, you could actually go to slide, I think it's 8. Yeah.
Here?
Slide 8, the one before.
Oh, okay. So, this one.
So that matches the piece of paper you're looking at. So what happens is every single curriculum committee, so there's a curriculum committee for every content area. And each curriculum committee is at a different year in the process. And so you can see the year each committee's on the one sheet you have in front of you. So if you look at years 1 and 2, under evaluation and planning, you can see science, music, and family and consumer science are in that specific year this year, because that represents 25-26. And then if you look at the other side, you can see what happens in years 1 and 2, what those 3 committees should be doing. They're at the beginning of the cycle. So they're doing the research part that Leo talked about. So analyzing assessment data, looking at those report cards in depth. What are we doing well? What aren't we doing well? Looking at those test scores. They participating in PD, what's best practice in my content area? Gathering sometimes input of teachers and maybe community members. Maybe this is a place where we ask community members, are they comfortable with what's happening in, say, your social studies education? And studying best practice. Then folks in year 3, 4, they're at the writing stage. And if you look, again, looking at the 2, that's where they're revising their maps. Now, people in years 3 and 4 this year, because we just did the maps, don't have a lot to do here. But we did add updating elementary report cards to this. We want our report cards to match our maps, and that hasn't always happened. And we need to continually be looking at the state standards because they change. The state is always in a constant process of revising standards. So that's where that happens. And I think you can see who's doing that this year. I think it's math,
Health,
and business ed. So do you see how this works?
Mm-hmm.
And then years 5 and 6, that's where they're actually selecting their materials. They're creating a rubric to review materials. They're looking at all kinds of materials that are out there. In answer to your question, John, how do they match the maps? They meet with vendors and then they pilot materials. And then finally in year 7 and 8, guess what? They get to come and present to you. So English Language Arts, we built a process so you're keeping up with what's happening with curriculum, where they're going to come to you. So English Language Arts, for example, is going to come to you in February and talk about what they're doing as they're going into their implementation year. Obviously, you know from what Jim's told you about elementary, they're purchasing materials, they're piloting and purchasing. The secondary is going to be doing something similar. And another important part of this process is professional development. That includes going to conferences. At certain points in this process, we send people to conferences so that they're going to a conference is very purposeful because that's an investment of resources by all of you. So in years 1 and years 5, we think it's important to send a small group from the curriculum committees to a conference, and then the chairs to go every other year. So it's very purposeful. Everyone gets a chance at it. It's not just, Mr. Smith is very, enthusiastic about going to conferences and asks every other year, but Ms. Jones never goes and never gets to learn those new things. So this keeps it systematic, if you will. So questions about that?
All I can say is we're lucky to have you.
Oh, you're very kind. Okay. So then the last thing from that slide, and you can go ahead, Jim, is I told you we hired go ahead to the next one, thank you. We hired chair people then for each department, and here are your chair people. And they've been working very hard. And that's what's been happening now in 25-26, is we hired those folks. And what's really cool about this is these are teacher leaders. And that gives them, a sense of efficacy and a sense of purpose that they didn't necessarily have as a teacher. They're leading something moving forward and learning those skills. So I think that's a very powerful part of this. And then Jim, if you don't mind going to the next one. So what have we accomplished in 25-26? We began working with the chair people. We met with them for a day in August. We have met a couple times during the school year, and we're training them to lead effective teams, running productive meetings, getting them to connect with their state organizations, content specialists, and other resources, so they're bringing that good learning back. And then, of course, their main goal is to implement the curriculum development process that you have in front of you for that content area. And we also began our curriculum committee meetings. Shane and Jim were very generous to give 2 hours every PD day to those curriculum chairs. And so those curriculum chairs are leading meetings from 1 to 3 every PD day this year. And we had our first one October 30th. And I'll tell you what, they went really well. Every teacher is assigned a committee. And here's just a sampling, if you go ahead, Jim, of what has happened this year already. I mean, these leaders just started meeting with these committees in science. They're starting to study the impact of AI and its uses on science instruction. They're surveying elementary teachers about their current materials, Mystery Science, and they're creating science kits for elementary. We're not sure how that's going to look yet, but that's a goal for them.
We have a plan for that.
Okay, good. Well, yes,
I work
and
with
Danielle
Danielle.
actually told me you guys had talked, so. In math, they're looking at how everyone can learn math, that it isn't only for certain people. That's a real mindset. It's true.
I'd be a lab rat.
Absolutely.
I'd be a challenge, believe me.
I would too. But just that whole philosophy, and there's a lot of literature about that. They're doing a standards audit to make sure they have all their standards accounted for, and they're starting that alignment with elementary report cards. And health is surveying elementary teachers because they don't really have figured out where that health curriculum is going to fit in the elementary. So they're working there. And then if you go on to the next slide, Jim, social studies, they're developing a rubric to assess materials because they're in years 5 and 6, and they're going to start reviewing various program options. They have a couple vendors coming in February to their meeting, and ELA, as we talked about, they're piloting materials and exploring materials, and they're going to present to you in February. So you can see already, with only 1 2-hour meeting, already the wheels are moving, and that's what we want. So not only do we have these maps, and they're online, we have people working to create the best learning opportunities for our kids in the district. So celebrations, and I think we should celebrate. We have a written curriculum, we have a written scope and sequence, we have a collaborative for K-12. I didn't mention that. These committees consist of elementary and secondary teachers. There's elementary, middle, and high school teachers on every committee. So this cross-building collaboration is happening. It's ongoing, it's teacher-led, and in our curriculum development process. And then we have a process now where we look at best practice, we look at the best materials we can find, analyzing data and professional growth, and an informed public. So I think those are all things we can celebrate.
Absolutely.
And our to-do list, oh, I'm sorry, Jim,
If
go
I
ahead.
may, just real quick, there's so many benefits and unintended benefits of this whole process and program. I wanted to talk just briefly about professional development as well. We did not have a real program or structure in place before that, and that was one of my goals to get up and running. And as we started this work with the curriculum, we saw how professional development tied in very nicely to the 8-year sequence. So that ties in hand in glove with this program. Also, collaboration between the 2 buildings. That's also been one of my goals. How do we break those barriers down? How do we get our teachers together And I've heard people say that in our curriculum meetings. It is so nice. Some of our elementary teachers, this time to get together with the middle school and high school teachers. We're talking about science, we're talking about social studies, reading, math, health, everything. And they come back to this building, from that building, they say, that was so awesome, that was so good, those conversations. So we're seeing a lot of positive benefits, for sure.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
And then just our to-do list. We need to keep supporting these curriculum chairs because this is new. They were nervous on the 30th for their first meeting to lead it, and I think a lot of them were, and I think we just need to keep supporting them and giving them positive feedback about it. We also need to help them. One thing we haven't done yet is how can they use data to improve curriculum and instruction? That's an area I want to venture into with them, and I know Jen Moore is willing to help me with that because she's been kind of the data person. What can they do? We need to keep supporting the process. The Curriculum Leadership Committee will continue to exist to they're kind of the auditors. They're the ones checking to make sure things are happening, so that committee will still work. We need to finish that online presence, and then we need to work on, we don't have elementary ELA and health maps yet because those are works in progress with the Act 20.
Mhm.
So thank you for the opportunity to work with your teachers. They're absolutely wonderful, and I appreciate it. Any questions or comments? Sorry if I went long, I tend to.
Could you send me the names of the people in the leadership committee and the curriculum,
Cheers.
the chairs, the
Yep.
list that were there? Could you shoot me an email with that? I wanna send each of those people a attaboy.
Mhm.
This is, yeah.
Thank you for doing that, Leo, because I know that will mean a lot. It's, sometimes those positions, you run a meeting of adults and you think, oh, what did I do? They just all stared at me. And that didn't happen the first meeting, but you know what I mean? It just can be hard sometimes. So I think things like that can be really mean a lot.
And your peers, that's
Well, exactly.
hard.
So, and thank you, Jim, for,
Absolutely. Thank you, Kathy. That
absolutely.
was outstanding. Outstanding.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm assuming there are no questions from the audience. Moving on to the consent agenda, approval of the minutes of October 31st.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Financials, gifts, Lisa, we had a bundle of
Yes.
cards tonight.
Yes, we have received several generous donations for our families, helping families accounts just recently. And they are from the following: Dave and Karen Thiel, the Nakuspa State Bank, Walter Iwanski, Leo and Sue Thomasgard, and Tom and Diane Jans. So thank you to all of those for those donations for families helping families.
Thank you.
We also had a donation from Susan Etner, a used iPad for the elementary school. And then Tina Melvin shared that Debbie Dillmeyer has come in a few times already this year and has brought in boxes of paints and brushes donated by Home Depot to the elementary school. And so we'd like to thank Debbie and Home Depot.
Is that where she's working?
Yes.
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 Okay, consider approval of the financials, need a roll call?
Leo,
Aye,
Carrie.
Motion
Oh,
first.
yeah, let's motion first, yeah.
So moved.
need a motion?
I'll second.
Motion and a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Roll call on the financials, please.
Leo,
Aye.
Carrie, aye. Crystal.
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Kathy.
Aye.
We're good with the consent agenda. There is no unfinished business. Moving on to new business, consider approval of the co-curricular position Holly Sully, assistant high school girls basketball. It was in your packet. Any discussion?
So moved. I guess Max is the one that knows, and if he approved her.
Yes, Max has brought her forward as our candidate for the position, and he recommends her. So a motion is requested to approve.
I think it's awesome to have an assistant on that.
Great.
That's great. Is there
I
a
will second it.
Motion and a second for the hiring of an assistant high school girls basketball position. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Consider approval of the 25-26 course description changes, of which there were lots. It appears that Mr. Bruno has been doing a lot more than just writing curriculum. He appears to have been creating an entire new concept of
Great.
of tech ed. I just kept going, I said, good Lord, is there any end to this? The poor man doesn't have any time to breathe.
Real world,
Yes.
that's,
And a lot of
Hands-on.
that now is if you wanna enter a new course description, that has to go to that curriculum committee.
Right.
And they have to talk about the course you wanna teach and how it aligns and everything, and then they decide if they approve it, then they bring it to myself and Jen, and then we enter it into the course description book at the high school and middle school level. So, yeah, it's a process now, and that curriculum development has been part of the process, so.
So are Steve's multitudinous requests coming from industry, coming from kids? Is this stuff that he's seeing that people are going to be expected to know as they go into a workforce position, or I was just really,
I would say all of the above, really.
I was pleased and surprised to see that there were so many technology, changes, massive strikeouts and complete redos on,
We see where the world's going to with that.
yeah,
And between him and Mr. Jensen in our business, I'm really pushing Mr. Jensen to get started into like an FBLA, a DECA charter for us. So we've set up a time to meet with the head DECA person at LHS, and he's gonna go spend a half a day and go over with Mr. Eric Seiler from LHS, who was amazing at DECA, and how to run that, how to start a charter. All those things are becoming huge. Steve's classes can't just be the classes he wants to teach anymore. He's pairing with Midstate. He's talking to Midstate about where the world's going in that technology field. So he's doing a great job on it, and that's why there's all those changes. Yeah.
it's good.
any other discussion concerning the course description changes that were in the packet? Hearing none, I'll consider a motion.
So moved.
Second,
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Opportunity for individual comment. Carrie?
Just really good to see students back in here every week, and they explained a bunch of different excellent things that went on, and then Shane, you went through a lot of different things. Jim, you went through a lot of different things. I mean, there's no slow time, right? and we're almost at the end of
Try one.
try one, but
Yeah.
we're so close to the end of the year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't believe the whole year is almost over.
It's called OLD is what that's called.
That
Goes
is
faster.
very
And then
correct.
with OLD comes FAST, yes.
So, but yeah, just good reports on our cards, and just good to see everything clicking along really nicely. So,
Keep on.
they're having fun.
and they must be having a great time in there.
That's a good
They
thing.
broke out the punch early, you better get in there.
So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Crystal?
I, like what Kathy said too, how everybody's so great in this district, I agree, and I'm very proud to be here. That's all I got.
John?
Yeah, I had a similar thought. It's good to be in a small district. All the meal and the bingo, and you don't see that in other districts a lot of times. And just shout out to Kathy for coming. And I like the way it's teacher-led curriculum, and not a whole curriculum department that's separate from,
It's not top
Teachers,
down.
yeah.
Yep, it's our teachers doing it.
so
Absolutely.
that's all.
Kathy?
I would just like to do a shout out to both Tina Melvin and Callie Kalinsky in our two offices. I know we've gotten some new students just recently, and from one of the parents that I've talked to said night and day difference in the school district they came from to our district. And both Tina and Callie, and I've told them this, they many times are the first people that someone from outside either meets on the telephone or meets in person, and how very important their job is. And for them to be welcoming and making people feel at home coming here, it's wonderful that we have that.
Can kids come anytime throughout the
Yes.
year?
There's a small window when they can't, but
Okay.
it's kind of flipped around. There used to be just a small window of time during the calendar year
Yeah,
when they
which-
could.
Right,
Now it's open enrollment almost year round.
okay, I was wondering that.
And I misinformed someone, so
But we,
luckily,
we corrected it.
right, I reached out to Jim right away and reached out to that parent, and within a week, they were here,
That's
so,
good to know.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I would second what Kathy said. In my experience, the principals, the teachers, the professional support staff could all be somehow transported to another dimension, and things would sometimes move along just fine, but if the secretary and the janitor are sick, God help you. The wheels are off the bus. It's an unmitigated disaster over and over and over again. So, yeah, I would completely concur. My comment tonight is in regards to the donations and the support that we've tried to solicit to our Families Helping Families program. We've just come out of a record-long government shutdown. You can point as many fingers as you want in as many different directions, but as usual, the results of people not doing what they're supposed to do fall onto the backs of people who are least able to accommodate it. And in the last 50 odd days since September, I've had my eyes opened considerably to a lot of things in the area regarding food security, regarding financial security. I've worked neighborhood table, I've worked the food pantry, I delivered Meals on Wheels again today. I thought I had a concept of need in the community, and I had no idea. I had absolutely no clue that there were that many people living that close to the edge, and the failure of one program at whatever state or federal level pushes them over the edge. I'm gonna try to be more present in terms of my support for Focus and for the backpack programs. I'm really glad to see that our district stepped up and did what they could. I think we are going to have to continue to do that, because I do not see a long-term solution to this problem until there's some systemic change at the top. People have a basic need to shelter and to food. And if you deny them that, regardless of the cause, regardless of the politics, something's wrong, and we need to do something about it. So I will call for an adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned at 6:39. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Good safe hunting.
And I'm hunting stresses me out.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that
we
would
did
be,
it.
yes, I think it's
Close to
December,
Thanksgiving
I've got
already.
people lined up, so think ahead to,
I'm gonna have 6
20,
at my house.
yes.
First time in
Yeah.
almost
Yep, so we
50
try
years.
to
Stopping by
have
me
a
first.
person
I
that's
certainly
done it
won't
before with
have
the
a
My
person,
grandsons,
so.
2 dogs, my sister's
Yeah, just
Maybe you-
my nephew, his wife, and there we'll go.
Well, what I'm trying to
Sounds
do,
like
I've done it
my
3
wife- my
times,
wife
I
is
just says
Mr.
is to
Browning
train
herself.
that people so that'll just.
The hunting stresses me out. I always think
Start that
bread
process.
And so, yeah, I think next month I I'm not, or in December, I'm not. gonna
The what?
Here,
Scanner
that
pages,
Taylor
like
had
all the
taken
injuries
Kristen
or
Winters and
just scary.
because she did it with me once
So
and
I
I
just
said,
wanted
oh,
to-
just
Yeah.
yeah, I'll do it the next time. She was like, oh, no, she was too nervous, so she's gonna do it again with Becky and
And you're laying on the ground,
It's not an orientation.
it sort of discourages one from
Yeah, because
further
we don't have the puzzle.
wandering around in the woods.
Can I,
Yeah, I just don't need to do that at all.
And of course, you mix
John, did you guys get
you mix copious amounts of alcohol with firearms, there's very seldom a really good result.
Oh, no?
I did.
I'm baffled by the popularity of these axe
Well,
throwing.
introductory email, yeah, it's
The
a book here with the-
Once again,
Have you gone and done that?
The morning that was.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere near anybody
It's very safe, there's wood on both sides, I've done it
Whatever her name is.
a couple times, it flies back a bit, but I've never
There's
done it.
Disaster.
I mean, I taught scoutcraft skills to kids for years, knife,